Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel that takes you deep inside the San Francisco 49ers. I am your host, Jack Hammer, and today I want to take a look at the biggest change that occurred for the 49ers offense in 2022. Yeah, that's right, the addition of Christian McCaffrey. Now, how big of an addition was that? It's been a hot topic around the 49ers this year, especially due to the quarterback debate with Brock Purdy and Trey Lance. And we're going to take a look at all of it. But we're going to start off with the running game first, then we'll get into the passing game. You know, over the first 6 weeks without Christian McCaffrey, the 49ers averaged just 4.4 yards per rush attempt. That's pretty good, but it's not necessarily where they want to be. So what happened once they got Christian McCaffrey? Well, that's right, it jumped up. It went from 4.4 yards per carry over the first 6 weeks up to 4.8 over the final 11 weeks of the regular season. A big jump, more along the lines of where the 49ers want to be. If they can get that up to 5, that would be exactly, I think, where they target each and every year. But still, pretty good. Jump from 4.4 to 4.8. Now, let's take a look at the passing game. And in this area, I'm going to focus on a specific target range, and that's the intermediate range from 10 to 19 yards downfield. The reason I'm focusing there is that Brock Purdy last season had the highest percentage of completions in the history of the NFL in terms of that being looked at, in terms of he completed 80.4% of his attempts in the range of 10 to 19 yards downfield. Now, again, that's Brock Purdy. Now, also remember, he had Christian McCaffrey for all those. So to take a look at the impact that McCaffrey made, we need to look at Jimmy Garoppolo. He's the best one to look at because Garoppolo had 5 starts that are games that he played most of the game in, if not starts, before Christian McCaffrey joined the 49ers, and then he had 5 after Christian McCaffrey joined the 49ers. When you look at Garoppolo, it is a big difference. In the first 5 games of the 2022 seasons for Garoppolo, without Christian McCaffrey, he completed just 50% of his passes in that intermediate range. Now remember, that's 10 to 19 yards, just to restate that one more time. Garoppolo completed just 50% of those attempts without McCaffrey. You add McCaffrey in, starting with the game against the Kansas City Chiefs, and guess what happens with Jimmy Garoppolo's numbers? Not only do they increase, they explode. They go from 50% all the way up to 75.8%. To put that in perspective, we all know that if you've been watching this channel that Brock Purdy's 80.4% completion rate would have been the best in NFL history in that area. Well, Garoppolo at 75.8 would have been the best if not for Purdy. And that's a big difference. That's a 25% increase, huge. And that shows, and one of the reasons that that happened with Christian McCaffrey is he's just so good once he gets the ball in his hands that you keep him in the shorter range, and then you have a guy like Deebo Samuel running deep, or usually mainly for the 49ers would be Brandon Ayuk. And really what that does is it creates a vertical stretch in the defense because they have to cover short, they have to cover deep, and it really opens up that middle of the field, and that's where Brock Purdy took advantage and was able to hit time after time after time. But again, as we see here, Jimmy Garoppolo was able to do it just as well. Well, not quite as well, it was still 5% lower than Brock Purdy. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes forward. And again, this is a big impact, big change that Christian McCaffrey brought to the 49ers offense. And it'll be interesting to see how that transfers over to Trey Lance. We'll get an ability to look at that a little bit during training camp. Might even see it a little bit in the preseason. And who knows what happens as far as Trey Lance, if he starts a game during the regular season early on or not, depending on where Brock Purdy is in his recovery. But again, Christian McCaffrey, huge impact. 4.4 to 4.8 yards per rushing attempt in the passing game. Jimmy Garoppolo going from 50% in that intermediate range all the way up to 75.8, and Brock Purdy at 80.4. Again, those are intermediate range, 10 to 19 yards past the line of scrimmage. So there you have it, everybody. Take it for what it's worth. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. How big of an impact do you think Christian McCaffrey made on the 49ers offense in 2022? And what will his impact be this season? Thank you all so much for watching. If you can do me a favor, hit that like button. After you do that, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And then also turn on your notifications, because I promise you, training camp is right around the corner and you're not going to want to miss any of those updates right here on Inside the 49ers with Jack Hammer. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.